what you coach can be broken down into three things. Yes, it's bigger than this. Yes, it's more in depth than this. But when we start pre-season, I go through three categories in pre-season. One of them's core skills, one of them's group skills, one of them's team skills. And it isn't that we ever leave core skills alone, but 6 weeks is spent on core skills alone before we even start to talk about what we do as groups and certainly what we do as team systems. I was talking to Peter this morning. I was coached by who I don't know if he still does, but would spend a huge amount of his time on core skills in the belief that if, when under pressure, you can make the catch or the pass, the bigger stuff will take care of itself. And invariably, that's true. To a degree, that's true. And I'm a huge believer in you fellas have got to be skillful enough. They've got to be skillful enough under pressure to be able to nail that catch, that pass, nail the occasion. Usually when you've dropped a ball, it will come down to some sort of core skill error. So a huge amount of time is spent on that for us. Then we'll move into group skills, which is, again, question, what do you think that would be? Group skills.
Small groups. 3, 4.
In a game, what is a group skill in a game? So core skill is what you do as an individual.
Edge.
Pardon?
Edge. We're working as an edge together.
Say again, sorry?
Working as an edge.
Yeah.
3 main tackles.
That's it. So anything you do as a group, you need some clarity about what you do. So anything, whether it's tackle technique, individual tackle technique. How many times do you see one man tackling one ball carrier and nobody else is involved in a field? Quite often somebody's involved. Initially it may be one-on-one, but within a fraction of a second it's always two. But if you've got two people involved, I'll carry on, don't worry, that'll be flashing at me and they'll be crashing pots all over you. I'll carry on, don't worry.
You repeat that again?
Yeah. So whenever you've got two people involved, you'll need a system. When you've got 3 people involved, you're going to need a system. So group skill for us would be marker play, would be kick chase, would be goal line D, would be ruck defence. All these things need some sort of systems that you've got to put in place. And we'll spend a good number of weeks on that. And then team systems, where do you stand from kick-off? What's your philosophy on team kick chase? How you receive kicks? Conversions, when you convert from offence to defence. Just as a bit of a side issue, I think that's huge, personally. It's probably not a debate for here today, but how you convert from offence to defence and how efficient you are probably decides the outcome of most games. You can trace back a conceded break or a try from a poor kick where we've only had 2 or 3 in the chase when we should have had 5 or 6. There's a non-tangible part of coaching. There's almost a belief and a philosophy in coaching that you can't really write down, and it's relevant in every single one of us because we have all got big egos. And ego's not a bad thing. I don't think ego's a bad thing. But if you let your ego take charge of your coaching, and you let that decide what you want to coach, some of your coaches are not going to be accurate towards your group of players. So what do they need as players? If you've got a really, really skillful group of players, well, it's pointless spending maybe more than 6 weeks, 8 weeks on just that alone. They're going to need challenging more. If you haven't, you're going to need to spend longer than that on there. You've got to tailor yourself to your group of players. Which sounds simple, that everyone here is nodding. It sounds simple, that. Who's ever read anything that Wayne Bennett's doing? Who's ever thought, yeah, I'll go do that? Who's ever heard of anything that Craig Bellamy's doing? We've got a couple of English coaches over there that I rate highly. Brian Noble, who's one of the most successful Super League coaches has been. And you hear some of the things he does or has done before. Yeah, I'll go do that. There is a real danger, an absolute danger in doing that. And it's maybe a drill or an attacking structure or a philosophy towards markers. You think, I mean, that makes sense. We'll go do that. There's a real danger in doing that. What, is that relevant to your group of players? So that's something to be careful for. So what you coach, I think is important. I think if you don't get that bit right, it'll trip you up. And what you do in pre-season absolutely will affect what you do in season.